I'm a business person. I'm a marketing guy. On top of that, I'm a German marketing guy. And yet, I am an unapologetic romantic. I believe the world would be a better place if we had more romance in our lives. And yeah, thank you. And I believe that we must find it and create it in and through business. And no, I'm not suggesting office romance, falling in love with your colleagues or your boss. I am referring to moments of unexpected beauty, awe and wonder, the detours and digressions, the cracks of imperfection that make our hearts beat faster, adrenaline rush, moments in which we lose control and fall in love with everything. When was the last moment in your professional life when you had an experience like that? In fact, what has been the most romantic moment of your professional life? Mine was in 2004 when I was working as an advanced press chief for the Athens Olympic Torch Relay. I was traveling with the flame to multiple cities worldwide. And I remember standing in Tahrir Square in Cairo, surrounded by thousands of Egyptians full of pride and joy who were cheering for the torchbearers. It was the first time the Olympic flame had touched African soil. But I was also surrounded by the sponsors, breathing down my neck as they were making sure to get bang for the buck. It was all very strange, exhausting, exhilarating. And yet I realized in that moment that it was possible to find meaning in the tension between commerce and a beautiful idea. And that there was this intensity that I wanted to feel again and again and again in my career. But it is hard to keep the flame alight in business. Studies show that trust in business leadership is at an all-time low. Studies also show that only 13% of employees worldwide are fully engaged at work, and that on average, the initial enthusiasm fades after 6 months on the job. And it's not surprising, because at work we're expected to be consistent, flawless productivity machines. We are used to hearing you can only manage what you measure, and now we're told the algorithmic corporation is the next big thing. Technology allows us to measure everything, so we can optimize it. Our productivity, our relationships, even our happiness. It seems that only the measured life is a good life. And we even outsource the most intimate and private aspects of our lives to technology, from flirting, to dating, to mating, to fertility, to breakup, to divorce. There's an app for it. There's even an app that allows you or promises you to enhance your performance in bed based on data analytics. It's called spreadsheets. And that's my favorite. There's a web service called Invisible Boyfriend. And I don't know why there's no invisible girlfriend, by the way. There's only an invisible boyfriend that lets you rent a fake boyfriend that makes fake phone calls, sends you fake text messages, and even fake emails at the opportune moment. And soon we might indeed be falling in love with our operating systems, as so beautifully depicted in the movie Her by Spike Jonze, about which the New York Times wrote, "The great question is not whether machines will be able to think. The great question is, will humans still be able to feel?" And indeed, when everything is measured, quantified, automated, made familiar, convenient, predictable, where do we find these profound experiences, unexpected, that punctuate our routines? Where are the strangers? Where is the unknown? Where is the magic? We are at risk of engineering the romance out of our lives. Romance, which perhaps is the ultimate differential in a world of maximizers and optimizers. I have to admit that all sounds very depressing. Now, the good news is we've been at a point of such disenchantment before. 200 years ago, the original Romantic movement, the poets Byron, Keats, Wordsworth, Novalis, they touted emotion and mystery in response to the age of reason and enlightenment. And I would argue that today we need a new Romantic movement. This time in business, this time in response to the disenchantment caused by the datafication, the quantification of everything. I believe that business people can be the new meaning makers, the new romantic poets of our time. But it all sounds a little bit lofty, so you might wonder how. So who is this mysterious business romantic? What are the qualities of a business romantic? So let's start by identifying the enemy of the business romantic. And that is the cynic. The cynic about whom Oscar Wilde famously wrote, he knows the price of everything and the value of nothing. The cynic says it's business, like Donald Trump. It's not personal, it's business. For the romantic, business is deeply personal. And that is just one of the traits that I identified and described in a fictitious job description that I put on various job posting sites to test the market demand. And within a week, I received more than 100 applications. And many of them said, this is beautiful. This is exactly how I see my life in business. However, sadly, there's never going to be a single business, a single company that is ever going to accommodate a person like me. And that bothered me and motivated me to actually dig a little deeper and think about the design principles of business romanticism and envision a business romantic organization. So I created 3 rules of enchantment. Find the big and the small, keep the mystique, and suffer a little. So let's start with find the big and the small. From Mad Men, which just ended in the US, to Casablanca, We Will Always Have Paris, to Orhan Pamuk's novel, The Museum of Innocence, where the protagonist collects items that remind him of a tragically ending relationship. Nostalgia has been an evergreen of our popular culture, of our books and movies. Nostalgia is often misunderstood as a longing for a time gone by, when in fact it comes from the Greek nostos and algos, which means pain from an old wound. And it describes an aching for something profound, something essential that we seem to have forgotten, that we seem to have disconnected from. And that sense of nostalgia is at the core of the maker movement and the rise of local artisans, both of which are trying to overcome the alienation between maker and product. That sense of nostalgia is also driving the rise of the curatorial, our craving for modern versions of the old-fashioned concierge who treat us as unique individual human beings and not as algorithmic track records. Take the website Brain Pickings, for example, by Maria Popova. She sends out an assortment of articles to 100,000 subscribers worldwide based simply on her taste and what she deems worth reading. Or the web service Forgotify that lets you discover and listen to the 4 million songs that have never been played on music streaming service Spotify. So it uses an algorithm to turn against an algorithmic world. It creates a platform for the strange and quirky, for the romance that awaits us at the lonely end of the long tail. And nostalgia is also driving the renaissance of traditional formats such as the dinner. There's Death Over Dinner, which is a series that convenes strangers over dinner having a conversation about the dignity of a good death. Or the Dinner Party, convening strangers to talk about recent losses. Or the I Am Here days, run by my friends Priya Parker and Anand Giridharadas in New York City. They gather a group of friends 1 day a month and explore neighborhoods in New York City without any digital devices. And they say that spending 8 hours together with one person is much more meaningful than spending 8 times 1 hour. Being thickly present is much more meaningful than being stretched thin across various platforms. And the artist Marina Abramović took that to the extreme in the exhibition The Artist is Present, where she sat across a visitor 5 minutes at a time for a total of 716 minutes. Thick presence. And it's interesting to think about what that concept of thick presence might look like in business. Imagine thick days, where instead of having conference calls, you lock yourself into a room with one person for 8 hours without distraction, digital devices, and you go deep and you create a very intimate kind of relationship. So the maker movement, dinner series, thick days, all these formats rekindle the human spirit in the digital age. They help us appreciate again the beauty of things that don't scale. The second design principle is called keep the mystique. In a time when we're drowning in an abundance of data and knowledge is the norm, mystery and secrecy make experiences meaningful again. When everything is open, nothing is open. So what do we choose to close, not to reveal? The UK-based startup Secret Cinema does not disclose the movies that it's showing until the very last minute. Two things are interesting about this. First of all, they're able to draw thousands of viewers. And then secondly, it doesn't really matter in the end which movie they're showing. The secret is the product. Mysterious and romantic is also what does not last. Hence the rise of ephemeral, erasable media, such as Snapchat, the app for self-erasing pictures, negating permanence, allowing us, bringing us back to a time when forgetting was still possible. Or pop-up magazines that stage entire magazines for the duration of just one night. Nothing is recorded. Or House of Genius, an event that brings together entrepreneurs and business professionals and to discuss business problems without ever disclosing the identity of the people in the room. Or Prime Produce, a startup in New York City that holds meetings in the dark, because sometimes the best ideas happen in the dark. Or at the company I work for, NBBJ, we launched a secret society to explore our company's alter ego. And more organizations are recognizing the value of those contrarians, rebels, and renegades who operate in the shadows and the underground of their organizations and giving them a platform. So all these formats create a new type of scarcity, experiences that we can't fully possess, experiences that don't last, experience that we don't fully comprehend. They restore friction and doubt in a world of certainty, knowledge, and seamlessness. Some brand experts say that too much information, TMI, is the new paradigm in business. I would say not enough information, NEI, is the new paradigm. Because certainty is the end of romance. Knowledge might be power, but not knowing is the more powerful experience. Which brings me to the last of the design principles, suffer a little. Now, you probably all know that romance is not identical with happiness, right? So we have skin in the game, there's a dark side to it, you suffer a little bit. But that's somewhat counter to the way we design our user experiences, based on convenience, comfort, ease of use. And yet, why is it that we camp out in front of Apple stores before new products come out? Why is it that we climb up the mountaintops of the Alps just to see the leading bikers of the Tour de France fly by in seconds? Why do more than 50,000 people every year embark on this pilgrimage to the Burning Man Festival in the Black Rock, Nevada desert, a festival of radical self-expression and losing control? So when you talk to evolutionary psychologists, they will tell you that our brains are still wired for the Stone Age. We're still looking for these existential, life-threatening events that give us a sense of meaning, a sense of coming alive. But we have all but banned them from our modern domesticated societies. Thank God. But we still look for them to get meaning out of them. So what do? We go bungee jumping, skydiving, we run ultra marathons, or we go to IKEA. IKEA has perfected the art of frustration. IKEA has perfected the art of suffering. If you've ever tried to self-assemble a Billy Oslo or clip-on piece of furniture, it's an existential exercise in sacrifice. It's a painful reminder of your own existential incompetence. And the same principle applies also to loyalty programs, frequent flyer miles. They're never designed for instant gratification, always for permanent unfulfillment. Frustration is part of the equation. And the same is true for the nightclub, The Box in New York City. If you buy the highest price ticket, you end up in the kitchen doing dishes. So the more inconvenient the experience, the more we appreciate it. The more we sacrifice, the more we belong. So ask your customers, your colleagues, your employees to make an effort. Frustrate them. Let them wait. Let them try harder so that they value what they cannot get and reap the ultimate reward, the desire intact, the thrill not gone. So those are three principles of business romanticism, and I hope that they illustrate that what I think is a broader shift from the smart connected age to a new romantic era in which we can celebrate the unquantified self, in which we can value again what we cannot measure. In the smart connected age, knowledge was really the norm. We wanted to accrue as much knowledge as possible, quantify everything, to then deliver with utmost precision. And yes, we like convenience and comfort, but we love those rebels and renegades who give us a heavy dose of punch-drunk love. And I believe that we need a new romantic business world that allows us to be both vulnerable and delighted, wanderers in the fog, not just masters of the universe. And it comes with business benefits too. You're not innovative enough? Well, maybe you're not foolish, not romantic enough about imagining the possibility of another world. Your customers don't love you? Well, give them more than just solutions to problems. Your employees are not inspired? Maybe purpose and perks do not suffice. Add some mystery, some adventure to the mix. Fight for your right to romance. It's a human right. Design for friction, not just convenience. Extend the territory beyond the map. Use data not just to demystify, but to mystify. And create things that are not only more useful, but also more beautiful. I think we romantics, we don't want to solve all of our problems, cure all of our pain, or solve all of our problems and answer all of our questions. We just want to feel more. And business is our ultimate adventure. So I want to leave you with a quote by the romantic poet William Wordsworth. To begin, begin. Which means tomorrow morning you can join a daybreaker event and dance with others, strangers before you go to work. On the way to work, talk to a stranger. Research shows that people who talk to strangers report higher levels of happiness. And once you're in the office, swap desks, or even roles, answer your boss's emails, do something for which you are not qualified. Be an amateur again. Amateur, by the way, means lover. Or even more extreme, do some live action role-playing, also called LARPing, to explore your company's alter ego and put yourself into the shoes of your colleagues and your customers. So imagining different worlds, making the familiar strange again, trying on different identities, these are all things that technology, by the way, can help us with, especially augmented reality and virtual reality. They are the new romantic technologies of a new romantic era in business and tech. So, to romanticize the enterprise means to humanize the enterprise. And I am on a romantic quest, which I call the Romantic 100, and I need your help. Within the next year, I want to sign up 100 companies and bring romance to these 100 companies, small, medium, or large. If you work for one, you want to be part of this, send me an email to tim@thebusinessromantic.com. Or, at smaller scale, just use the term romance in a different way. Don't use it in a negative way, romanticizing of romance. Consider it something positive, something critical for business. And then lastly, maybe tomorrow you start applying 1, 2, or all of the design principles, the rules of enchantment in your work. And I promise you something beautiful is going to happen. Thank you.